Good evening, Shift Youth. Guys, how good that we are back online. I am so excited that we can be joining you from our brand new studio, our brand new set. If you rate our set, why don't you let us know in the chat? I'm very proud. I designed this, so I'm happy to hold that. And then the incredible Michael put it together. So claps for Michael.
We love Michael. We haven't seen Michael this week. He's just been burrowing holes everywhere and
painting stuff, guys. Church looks so good.
And yeah, he's doing a good job. We love Michael. He's put a good lot of effort into this, and it looks good. Looks real good. Make a home. Hopefully we don't have to give it too much of a workout on Shift Lives. It's a bit of a bummer that we're not together this week. And I was super looking forward to going to One Community as well and doing Youth United. I think that would have been a lot of fun.
Hopefully later on this term we can do a Youth United.
I know we got to let those, was it 10 or 20,000 glow sticks or something that we've ordered?
So many glow sticks. And I bought glow-in-the-dark dodgeballs and like spike balls. So guys, it's coming up. It's going to be awesome. Also, let's be praying that next week we can meet in person because it's going to be Year 12 takeover. So our Year 12s have been planning an epic night of youth for you to enjoy. So make sure you're praying for that this week. Hopefully we can do something and get together.
Come on, Dan, my man.
Yeah.
We'll even invite Dan to youth.
I'll invite Dan to youth. I'll personally DM Dan and maybe he'll get back to us.
Yeah,
who knows?
That'd be fun.
Who knows? Politicians are great at coming back to you on social media, and we know this from experience.
Oh, so good. So, guys, if you aren't on our socials yet, check us out on Facebook and Insta. Just search Shift Youth.
We'll come up.
We're in all the places. And if you really want to give yourself a bit of a laugh, all of our stuff from last year is still on YouTube. If you want to go and watch a really gross ASMR, it's still there. It's all the good quality stuff. It's still there.
If you want to watch Tim and myself just embarrass ourselves there's more than 35 hours of content that we created last year. So if you're bored in lockdown, search New Hope on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of good content. And go have a look. There's some real fun stuff from camp and all sorts of things.
Yeah, if you start the second small groups this evening finish, you could have all of our content watched by about 1 o'clock early Sunday morning.
Yeah. And then you're ready for church, 10 a.m. on Sunday, guys.
So good.
You want to make sure you come along on Sunday. Pastor Alan is speaking. He is doing the final message in our Favour series. It's going to be epic.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Saying goodbye to Favour.
See you later, Favour.
It's been a good series.
I'm very excited for the next sermon series, and
it's going to be real good.
It's going to be good talking about the Spirit and life with the Spirit. So
it's going to be real good. Tonight's going to be a treat as well, Ads. Unfortunately, due to our handful of lockdowns we've had in the last couple months, our man Joel, who's over in the corner, he didn't get to bring his message on the evening service, so we thought we'd wind him up and let him go tonight.
It's a ripper one, so I'm keen to hear it.
It's going to be good, but we're going to jump into it tonight, Shift. We're going to get your phones out right now, and we're going to play a game together. We'll get the link up for you in a second.
So if you head to, preface this, we're no longer with Kahoot. We don't affiliate with Kahoot anymore.
We're not Kahoot.
No Kahoot. We're all about quizzes. Because Kahoot is so expensive. Kahoot is so expensive. So we're going to go to joinmyquiz.com. Joinmyquiz.com. Our tech guys have found some new toys, so they're going to be mucking around on the screen a lot tonight, I reckon.
Good.
So Tim and I are going to play along because we don't actually know what the answers or what the questions are going to be. So we're going to play along as well.
Joinmyquiz.com,
and the code is 361761, and you can.
Very good.
You can join that game, and it'll select a cheeky nickname for you, and we'll hop in there.
I'm so ready.
I reckon we're going to be pretty even on this one, Tim.
Some of these are not good.
Some of the names.
Clementine Moriarty.
I'm Guavastine George.
It's not good.
Hit us up in the chat with what your nickname is. I want to know who is who.
It is not good.
Hit us up in the chat if you've got a sick nickname. While we're at the chat, hey Raymond, hey Tom, hey Tori, hey Cam Roper, hey Annie, hey Willow, hey Ali, hey James, hey Tom, hey Henry, hey Tessa, hey Bree, hey Mel. So, guys, a lot more people who could be in the chat. Get that chat going.
We love chat.
Cool. I think people can join in.
It's okay, fellas. It's only worth $700.
I think people can join in after, but joinmyquiz.com 361-761.
Ooh, pop culture. I'm so good at pop culture.
You know all the pop culture things. Tim actually, Tim's table won. No, you didn't win.
We came second.
You came second.
We came second.
In the Young Adults Trivia Night.
Stitch up. We didn't get a Justin Bieber round. We brought on a player specifically for our Justin Bieber trivia, and we got stitched up. There was no Justin Bieber round.
Do you know who was it one of our youth leaders?
Oh, it was.
Because I reckon there's a few of our youth leaders who know a lot about Justin Bieber. So maybe we need to do, if Shift Live is around again, maybe we need a Bieber off.
A Bieber off. I like that.
And
I think
got to get some questions in there.
Oh yeah. That's Ali. Ali, one of our Youth 7 girl leaders.
Jeez, and I reckon our 3 Pittendery girl leaders would know a lot about JB. Tori currently still runs 2 Justin Bieber fan pages.
Seriously?
I believe, yeah. And her Twitter for a long time was like Bieber Girl 301 and really gets involved. So I think it's time that we play the quiz.
Is that true? That's wow.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
it's all right.
I will fact check later.
I don't condemn.
But we're gonna start.
Very good. Oh, here we go.
Okay. Oh, which of the following is not a Ninja Turtle?
I was quick on that one.
I was slower than I would have liked to have been for someone who knows the Ninja Turtles.
We were really bad at this, weren't we, last year? If you've got any fond memories of Shift Live last year, pop them in the chat.
Yeah, let us know what your favourite thing was from last year.
I'd go for a reminisce.
Bit of reminiscent, always good.
And enjoy that 30-second lag.
Yeah, hopefully it's a bit quicker now. Hopefully it's not too laggy, but we'll see. Chive Snitchell is up in the top of the leaderboard, followed by Clementine.
That's me,
and then it went away. So most people got the question right. A few people not quite. So okay, next question. Oh no!
Bang!
Oh, I just wasn't as quick as I could have been.
I really want to
win this.
Not even playing.
Oh, Joel's just airdropping us photos, which is actually quite distracting when you're trying to run a live broadcast. While we're waiting, who have we got in the tech booth?
Yeah, who's out there?
The boys.
We've got the boys in the tech booth. Welcome. Are you guys just as funny as old Dave Sobey was as well?
We wish we were, but we're not quite so.
Not quite as funny. That's okay.
Kent might disagree, but
big shout out to Sobey in Mount Buller. Chive Snitchell still ahead, followed by Papa Grant. Clementine coming in third. Are you Clementine, mate?
I am. Speedy.
Okay.
That was the best answer. The boys.
The boys.
Very good.
What dance craze did this kid create?
Surely.
This was can you do this dance, Timothy?
Fluently in my sleep. So
in your sleep.
I'm not going to sleep.
I thought I could. I can't. Not to the full capability that this dance deserves.
No, and after all the embarrassment I put myself through in 2020, I'm not going to put more on my resume in 2021.
2021 is the year where Adam and Tim don't make dumb videos online.
Legit. I need a job. I cannot get employed anywhere else.
Oh, you're no longer third.
My YouTube fingerprint is too great. It's not good.
Yeah, you search my name, it's just videos of Shift Live.
It's not good, guys.
I tapped very quickly, and I don't know if I tapped right.
Devo.
Name this video game.
That's a cute little screen. Is that all the people?
This is all the people, and they're all little. There's a lot of.
Go you guys, 47 of you. Well done.
Pop along. 3 of you haven't answered yet, so.
Come on, guys.
You can do it. We know you can do it.
2 left. Guarantee you Phil Gordian's one of them.
Oh,
Love
Phil,
you, Gordians.
if you're playing along, great boys. Who is that? Name that video game.
It's going to take you a week to zoom out on that thing.
Chive, Snitchel, Papa, Raspberry, Pomelo, and Clementine. You're in 5th, mate. So
How am I? I've gotten everything right so far. How am I losing?
it's all about speed.
That's it. I'm going to focus this time.
3, 2, 1.
Oh no, I don't know.
So who is the main character? Is it Beatrice Triss,
I've
Harry Potter, Katniss
never seen
Everdeen,
the
or
Hunger
Ronald
Games.
Weasley?
It's not the last one.
Not the last one.
Or is it?
It's not Harry either. It's either Beatrice or Katniss.
I have literally no idea. I've never seen the Hunger Games.
Tim, pretty sure it's Ronald.
Was that the movie that Joel, me and you were reminiscing on when I made it? Yeah. Great movie.
I did get it wrong.
And you dropped down severely. Guava Grey popping up now. Well done, Guava Grey.
That is bang average. That is some village trivia.
Okay, which popular TV show featured characters Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Joey, Chandler, and Ross? Is it Just Shoot Me, Friends, The Real World, or Married with Children?
And if any of you have even watched any of those shows, do say so.
Yeah,
in the
let us
chat.
know in the chat if you.
If anybody's watched every episode of Just Shoot Me, I'll give you a prize.
Yeah.
I'll give you a money prize.
Someone said, Nick Nardell said the previous game was The Sims 4, which I thought was a great laugh.
There's probably genuinely going to be like a
Yeah, Clementine, you're 4th, just behind Pepper Moo.
Pepper Moo.
Pepper Moo. Okay, next question,
Love
3.
that. How many left?
I don't know, a few. Yeah. Ooh, which actor voiced both Darth Vader and Lion King's Mufasa? I know the name of the actor, which is James Earl Jones, but these are photos.
Yeah, who
So I guess you got to look and you just got to know.
My thinking is that if you're doing voice acting, you can't be particularly pretty. So I went for the ugliest person. Personal preference.
Personal preference.
Well, it's not going to be the guy that was on House. He's like a sharp-looking dude. Why would you need? You need to be in movies.
Did you get it right?
Visually, I
Chive,
did get it right.
Schnitzel.
The theory paid off.
Incredible. Incredible. All right, next question.
Can we delete this off YouTube afterwards?
Yeah, we can. This is going away. Whose name was printed on the rear of every Cabbage Patch Kid?
What?
I don't know. Does anyone know what a Cabbage Patch Kid is?
I do not. No. What are they, Joel?
Dolls.
Kids doll.
I didn't play with dolls as a child, so I'm not familiar with them.
That's a classic stitch up. Oh, here we go. Here's a bit of competition. So I've got a couple messages from my wife, and she says, "You have too seen the Hunger Games." I wasn't paying attention if we did.
You should watch it.
She's
again, Claire.
Pepper Moo, and so she's the one who's ahead of
Oh!
me. So she's trying to beat me.
Yeah, Pepper Moo.
This got personal.
Pepper Moo's winning. Pepper Moo is winning. I got it incorrect. What?
So did I. Who on earth is
Xavier Roberts?
Xavier Roberts?
If any,
Do you know that? Do you guys out in the booth know that?
I think I may have hit the
No.
wrong question. Sorry.
Adam, what have you done?
It's okay. I'm ending the question and we're going to the next one. Do you want to? Yes.
Waiting for
Guys, Kahoot is a much better system, but it's very expensive.
Yeah, the youth budget ran dry. We've been hit by this global pandemic
Yeah.
financially.
Guys, if you want to donate to the youth budget, newhope.net.au/give. Actually, on the youth page, you can give directly to camp sponsorship, which helps
This is
always.
help pay for yourself to go to camp.
Yeah. Who is this?
Very good. Okay, who is this? What?
Can we get a nice zoomed in on the person, guys? Ooh, thank you.
Give out New Hope.
Great.
Really good. You
You
guys
can
have
give
a
by
bit
the
of fun
Push
out
Pay
there.
app, guys, or the Giving Hub in person.
This has turned into a real village production since Dave has left.
Yeah. Time's up. Who was it?
You got a star wipe.
I
in
think
your
it
fellas?
was Alf. Yeah, it was Alf. Pepper Moo first, then Plum, then Papaya, followed by Guava, Jamaica Beat.
I'm not even in the top anymore.
You are not, Tim.
I'm out of the leaderboard.
This is the last question. Do you want to end the quiz? Yes. Okay. So we're going to see who the winner is. And the winner, third is Papa, second is Plum, and first is Pepper Moo. Congratulations to Claire for winning. That was
well done.
Absolutely incredible.
Got to swallow my pride there.
All good. Well, Timmy, over to you.
Oh, yeah, true. It's going to be back Shift Live. Hopefully next week we are going to be back in person. I'll stand in the middle so I'm not awkwardly not in the weird part of the shot. We're super excited tonight. Like we said, we've blown the cobwebs off Joel and he's going to come and preach us a message tonight. We're really looking forward to that. Just before he does, I would love to pray for all of you and for us as we are coming to this time of learning together. Father, Lord, we thank you that we can join together in this way. Lord, thank you that you have blessed us as a youth group and as a church that we can do this thing, that we can join together for half an hour and just have a bit of fun together and just share in each other's joy. Lord, for this next 15, 20 minutes, Lord, may your Holy Spirit come and fill our hearts, Lord. Ready our hearts to be receptive, ready to listen, ready to learn, ready for your Spirit to do a good work within us. God, may you bless Joel, bless his words, as he comes and speaks to us what you've placed on his heart for us this week. Lord, as we go into this weekend, Lord, may you just give us strength. May you fill us with your Spirit once again that we can get through to the end of this lockdown nice and fast. Lord, bless your people. Bless us as a youth group. We honour you and we bless you. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. My man Joel, come and preach up a storm.
Howdy dowdy. All right, Shift, thanks for having me. As it's probably been mentioned a million times already, my name's Joel. I'm the Year 11 Boys Youth Leader. If you don't already know me, tonight I'm going to be preaching on Nehemiah. This was actually, as previously mentioned, meant to be one of the favour sermons for the night series at church. So you will notice a lot of favour in this topic, but I have given it a little bit of a twist as soon as I found out that I would be preaching it to you guys. But basically, Nehemiah is a character from the Old Testament. And to sum up his story really quick, he was the cupbearer for a king who found out that his people, the Israelites, who he'd previously left, had essentially been decimated. Their home had been torn down, their walls had been broken down, and their people had been scattered. So he decided to leave his job as a cupbearer and go and, reunite his people, anointed by God. The funny thing about Nehemiah's story is what I noticed as I was reading through it. If you were to flick back to his book in the Old Testament, you'll notice pretty quickly that he has all these little quotes and inserts in his story where he keeps kind of pointing out all the good stuff that he did. And I found it kind of funny because he's always mentioning to God, he's like, hey God, remember when I did this and remember when I did that. In fact, to be very specific, Nehemiah 5:19, he says, remember me with favor, my God, for all I've done for these people. Next one, Nehemiah 13 verses 14, he says, remember me for this, my God, and do not blot out what I have so faithfully done for the house of my God and its services. Nehemiah 13 verse 22, he says, remember me for this also, my God, and show mercy to me according to your great love. And that's just to list a few. There's more verses, I promise. Go read it if you want to find. But it seems to me like that's a bit of a subtle flex considering he wrote his own book. So he was very intentional in putting those little excerpts or reminders into his word. And I kind of find it funny as if I was praying to God at night and saying, hey God, just by the way, remember that time that I helped that person cross the road, and remember that time where I prayed to you and that was really awesome, and just by the way, do you remember that time I preached on Shift Youth Live and at Night Church, etc., etc. And so it seems like Nehemiah cared a lot about what God thought of him and how God saw him. And nowadays that type of behavior would come across kind of prideful and self-focused, which is weird because if you know the story of Nehemiah, he was not a prideful person at all, and he was definitely not self-focused. In fact, Nehemiah being the cupbearer, it might not sound like that good of a job, but being the cupbearer would have been a very good gig back in the day. He would have been living in the king's palace around the richest people basically in existence of that time, and he would have had it very good and very comfortably. And so you wonder maybe did God send him to go help his people? Well, no, that's actually not true either. It's actually when Nehemiah found out what had happened to his people, he begged God to leave. So he was a very selfless person in that sense, in how he acted. So it begs the question, when he's writing his story, why is it so me-focused, and why is he always reminding God about what he's done? And the truth of that is Nehemiah sought God's favor. It was all about God. He quite evidently wanted his book and his story, the emphasis of it, of what he did, to be all focused on God and not on the people. And if you read Nehemiah, you'll realize that he most certainly was not focused on what people thought of him. He was a pretty brutal person when it came to addressing his people and the Israelites. He didn't care what people thought of him at all. He would walk into his town. There's even a moment where he saw someone who was doing something wrong. He was breaking the covenant, and he just starts slapping him, which is an awesome part of the book, but it truly shows that Nehemiah came to lay down the law, quite literally. Anointed by God, he came to his people and he brought God's covenant back into their very society. And they didn't like him that much for it. Some people loved him, but there was definitely people who opposed him. They tried to kill him. They tried to get him arrested. They tried to get him to break the covenant and to break the law, to get him basically out of position of power. But Nehemiah stuck to his guns and he stood true to the laws of God, and he stuck true to what God wanted him to appoint over the Israelites. And some context to why Nehemiah was so, brutal in his delivery and in some senses impatient with the Israelites is because if you read the Old Testament, the Israelites are going through this painful cycle where again and again and again they get saved by God, things are going well, they turn their back on God, they start worshipping other gods or idols or whatnot, and then they fall out of favor with God, and we see that cycle repeat. For example, you probably know the story of the Israelites getting freed from Egypt, and Moses, through God's miracles, frees the Israelite people, literally parts the sea for them. They get free, and then by the time Moses is at the top of the mountain getting God's law, he comes back down and they're already worshipping different gods. So for Nehemiah, this would have felt like the billionth time that the Israelites had stuffed it up. And so he knew that if he was going to return, he had to once again get his unfaithful people who had stuffed it up again to come back towards God and to come back to his covenant and to his law. And so, although Nehemiah was, brutal in some ways, he had a great heart for his people because he knew what they needed, not what was, convenient to them. And he knew that God's favor over his people would trump what some of them preferred even. So when we look at it now, what does favor look like to us nowadays? In Nehemiah's day, favor looked like him being sent on a horseback by a king to go save his people, rebuild a kingdom, and bring his people from all across the land. And it sounds a bit like a fairy tale. And other moments of favor in the Old Testament look like chariots of fire or tornadoes of fire or pillars of fire, always fire for some reason, or parting of seas. And it doesn't quite look like that nowadays because we have the sacrifice of Jesus. And Jesus came and died so that we could have an intimate relationship with God. So favor in our life now looks a lot more personal and on the inside than it did back then when it was on the outside. You see, we tried living by the laws in the Old Testament, and quite evidently with the Israelites, it didn't work. But still, as Christians, we are called to live a certain way. We still live within the bounds of sin, and we are called to stand out from the world. But it's through relationship with God that we'll see his changing favor, and not through our own acts or our, self-accomplishments. The idea of God's favor to us individually can also be confusing. What does it look like? Because God's favor isn't like one of those plastic orbs that you see people running or crawling through where they go over water, or where they're running down a hill in this big orb that just, separates them from the outside world. That's not what God's favor in our life is. It's not something that's going to put us in a bubble and protect us from all pain and hurt. You see, God's favor actually came down not for what's on the outside, but to save what's on the inside, which is our soul. God's favor truly looks like our souls spending eternity with him. So what it looks like now is favor in our lives is actually walking through life. We still face trials, we still face tribulations, we face pain, we face difficult moments, but we can walk through those moments with God's favor inside of us and protecting us. If we were even to look into the Bible at some of the people who walked with some of the most favor from God, let's look at the disciples, for example. They were not immune to pain. They went through some of the worst situations that a person could go through, but they always had faith and they were always filled with hope. Paul, for example, went from a jail cell to a shipwreck and then back into a jail cell, yet God's favor never left his side. And that's what God's favor looks like for us today. Not shipwrecks or jail cells necessarily, but it's something much more subtle. It's something that we can't physically see, but we can witness. Why is it that everyone Paul encountered including the very guards that kept him in the jail, could see that there was something different about him. It wasn't because he looked weird. It wasn't because he was a different looking person. There was something about him that they couldn't physically comprehend that was different. And that's because he walked with God's favor. God's favor is something that we can't encompass. We can't hold it. We can't physically comprehend it. Yet it is very real. And it's so real that it actually stretches beyond logic and what we understand as we live and breathe. I've written down an idea of his favor. His favor is just. It doesn't compromise, yet it's merciful, it's loving, it's gentle, it's present, it's unfailing, unwavering, committed, persistent, and ever present. God's favor is like his love. It's always available to you, yet it makes no exceptions, and it's not corruptible. His favor within his love is always there for you to take it, but he is the only way you can access it. There is no way to experience or to have God's favor except through him, and that's why it doesn't make exceptions. Only through relationship with your Heavenly Father will you experience his favor. There is no other way. So finally, I just want to ask you guys, whose favor do you seek? You see, we can find favor from different people, and Nehemiah definitely did all of these great things for his people, yet it almost seems as if he couldn't have cared less about what they actually thought of him. But on the flip side, all of these deeds that he did weren't for himself either. They weren't for vanity. They weren't to make himself look good or feel good. They weren't for pride or self-accomplishment. So why did Nehemiah do what he did? It's because he sought God's favor. He saw God's people broken. He saw them scattered, and he felt a love from God that reached out to them beyond his own self, beyond his job, his safety, his comfort, even his physical well-being. Nehemiah could have very well have been killed for asking the king to leave and go help his people. But what he did was he had a love for others that went beyond himself. And that's what we're called to have as well. We're called to abandon all that we are for God's favor, to abandon all that we are for his work in our lives, because ultimately chasing the favor of other people will give you nothing. And it's not that we shouldn't care for other people. That's not it at all, right? It's that God calls us to care for others, in fact, quite an opposite way. We need to care for people more, beyond our own convenience, beyond our safety or our self-regard. A life centered around God, seeking his favor, requires vulnerability, because God knows and he sees all. So he's going to hear what you say about people behind their backs. He's going to know when you're genuine and when you're not. He knows the moments when you're with people and when you're not, and he will see it all. So if you're living according to God's favor, you truly have to love people for who they are. Say, for example, I woke up to Adam and Tim tonight and I said, I love you guys. You're amazing. The world is a better place and I have a better life because you're a part of it. That's all good and well, and hopefully that would make them walk away feeling really good. And I would find favor from them because they would like me more for saying that. But if I didn't mean what I said, is that actually love? Is that actually Christ-like for me to say those things if there was no intent or meaning behind them? Or am I just doing it for my own self-gain to make people like me? Loving others, it's not what we say or what we do, it's actually what we mean from the inside, and that's where we'll find God's favor. So to find favor in God, to be a Christian, what it is for us to live a life with God, we need to be prepared to love others no matter what the expense. And that means loving those who don't love you. That means loving those who are difficult to love, loving those who you don't necessarily agree with. That means placing your love of God above the favor of other people, above what other people think about you. And that doesn't mean I can't say to Adam and Tim what I said before. It doesn't mean we can't say those nice things. But what it does mean is that when we do say stuff, we should be meaning it from our heart. We should actually be intentionally loving people in what we do. So to speak to others because you love them, not just to gain their favor, that's what living with God's favor in our life looks like. And that's where we're called to put his will above our own. Because when the time comes to pass on this earth, when my time comes to pass on this earth, unfortunately, what Adam and Tim think of me, no matter how nice I was to them, that doesn't actually mean anything. And I could even leave this world with a bunch of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people saying Joel was a great guy. He was loving, he was caring, he did these great things. He was generous. He was a fantastic human being who loved everyone. And that is good and well, and that would leave me warm-hearted. But ultimately, when I pass from this earth, that means nothing. The only thing that will mean something is what God thinks of me and where his favor lies with me. And the only thing that will matter is the conversation that you'll be having with your Father in the behind the scenes and truly what was actually happening and what the truth was behind all of it. So as humans, it's this difficult decision, I guess, we have to make, because we're called to leave a legacy that's long lasting. We're called to leave our name and our imprint on this world for as long as we possibly can, to never be forgotten and to do something that will change the world forever. But as Christians, we're called to live whether we leave a legacy or not. We're called to love and do things for other people whether they notice or don't. There's many things that God does, and there's many ways that God acts in the silence. And there's no reason that he won't be doing those same things through your life in the silence as well. So to live with God's favor, to find his favor, it's actually in the quiet moments and what we actually truly do, who we truly are behind closed doors. Because if you could live and act unreliant, not caring about what other people thought about you, that means that you would be unhinged and more open to God to move through your life in a way that the world is not used to. And it means that God's going to leave you down paths and different areas of your life that you actually never could have imagined, because you're not boxed in by what other people see of you. Through Nehemiah, God saved a nation. He rebuilt a city. He brought salvation to his people. And there's no reason that God couldn't do the same thing through you now. It's a funny thing because not everyone necessarily hated Nehemiah. Not everyone. In fact, a lot of people liked him. In fact, people really liked him, but some people really hated him. But God still gave Nehemiah favor. He gave Nehemiah favor through his king, a king who wasn't Christian, who didn't know God. But he still used the relationships of the people around him to help spread God's glory. But ultimately for Nehemiah, it didn't matter whether people liked him or not. All that matters was what God was trying to get across. See, Nehemiah was anointed by God, and he knew what was best for people. It's that illustration of, say, a dog's trying to eat the chocolate that's in your hand. Because you love the dog, you're not going to give it the chocolate, hopefully. It won't understand why you wouldn't give it the chocolate, and it's going to think that you don't like it. But ultimately, you love it, so you do what's best for it. And that's what we're called to do as well. We're called to be truthful and genuine people, to speak up and to say the truth when it's good and when it's not good. We're called to love people through the highs and lows of life, and to love them no matter how they act or what they do. To capture off this message, I just want to finish with how Nehemiah actually finishes his book. And he finishes with just it's a really simple verse, and it's a really simple sentence. And he basically just, to encompass his whole story, he basically just says, "Remember me with favor, my God." And I wonder what that would change if that's how we try to encompass our life story, is to remember me with favor, my God. If we were to walk into each day, into each situation, into each relationship and say, "God, where can I spread your favor, your love, your will in my life here, Father? Because that's what my life is for. My life is for you. So remember me with favor, Lord." So if you're sitting here and you've got no idea what I was talking about in regards to what is God's favor, what does his love look like in our life? How can we experience this? What do I need to do to know God's favor? Well, that's actually a really good question for him. So I want to encourage you to have that discussion, whether it's through prayer tonight, to actually come before God and say, "Lord, what do you want to show me through your favor? What love do you want to show me? What insight do you want to show me into my situation, into my life?" And if you're not even sure how to start that conversation, that's something that your small group leaders would love to help you with as well. So I want to encourage all of you guys to go into tomorrow and into the rest of your week, and then even next week and the rest of your lives, seeking, where can I find God's favor and how can I bring that into this world through the way that I live? I'm going to send you guys into your small groups now, but I thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night shift, and I pray you have a great conversation with your leaders.